Yo, what's going on? It's Miguel reporting to you live from the lovely Bangkok, Thailand. And on today's video, I just really wanted to go over with you like what it actually takes to make astronomical leaps. Because for me, this honestly wasn't always the case, right? Where I was living in a high rise here in city I'd always dreamed about, right? I remember back in high school, having that 2.1 GPA, right? Not necessarily knowing what was to come, but always knowing that there was something bigger and having that broader vision. So for me, I've started recording YouTube videos, right? Doing pranks and shit, got in the corporate sales, but you realize that wasn't what I wanted. And despite, making 80, 90K a year, went ahead and burned that and took another leap. Okay, then I got into another really good sales role, making over 10K a month, and then I took another leap, right? So, what kind of goes into that? What's the thought process to make these leaps and take these risks, and how to actually make those risks worth it, and manifest something like this. So, like the first step when it comes to this is really having a clear vision. Okay, so for me, I didn't necessarily have a a clear vision to start, but despite that, you need to take actions. Okay, so kind of have an ideal lifestyle or something that you want to shoot for, and just start taking action, right? So there's a quote, I think it's in the Bible, right? It says the path illuminates as you walk. Okay, and genuinely, and that's genuinely true. So if you could have something that's kind of broad or something gray, that's not necessarily definitive as far as a vision goes, and then you take action despite there not being complete certainty, that's whenever you see massive results that other people aren't able to. Okay, because as you take action, you'll get more clarity on what you actually want and where you're going, and eventually you'll start to see success. Okay, so for me, what that came in the form was I knew I wanted to live overseas and I knew I wanted to make money online. How did I want to do that? I don't necessarily know, right? I've tried every single business under the fucking sun, damn near, okay, or at least looked into it, okay, and spent a couple hours doing my research, my homework. So for me, I kind of looked at what was my skill sets, okay, and for me, my skill set was sales. I had a background in that, okay, so I just heavily leaned into it, and I mean that's what I do to afford this, be able to have this lifestyle, right? I do remote high ticket sales. I have a video in the description kind of like detailing that a little bit more if that's something you're interested in. But if you are looking to, get into the online money space, kind of have an ideal lifestyle and think about what business supports that. All right. So for me, I didn't want to have to necessarily work 50, 60 hours a week for a long ass period of time. I wanted to make six figures a year and I wanted to be able to do it from wherever. So remote high ticket sales made sense for me, right? But that's not everyone's vision. Okay. What if you want to have something you can build like a big brand, maybe e-commerce fits you. Okay, now some of these businesses take a little bit more money to start than others, right? That's also why I chose high ticket sales. I didn't have a lot of money to start, so it made sense to do something like this, and I enjoy talking to people. So yeah, anyways, just despite the business models, what is the mental model that you have in order to see success? Because that's really what it comes down to. Okay, because the honest to God truth is most things do work, all right, but it's you who needs to make it work. So for me, I always thought like, what's the bigger risk? Taking one and failing forward, okay, and having that clarity as I'm taking action, or not taking any steps towards those goals at all and staying in my same position. Pretty easy answer there, right? So despite those fears and those uncertainties, which we all face, so if you're feeling those, that's completely normal. You need to act in spite of that. All right. So along with that, I always thought I deserved more and was really yearning for something that was greater. Even despite me getting to a good comfort level, right, making 80, 90K a year, living at home, saving a lot of money, having good friends, going to the gym, was in good shape. I still had something that was uncomfortable. That was sitting there that was uncomfortable, right? So you need to kind of manufacture that in your life. If you feel like you're comfortable, really lean into things that make you feel uncomfortable with your position. Okay, and what I'm meaning is, you won't make a change until the perceived rate of perceived pain of change, okay, is smaller than the pain that you're currently experiencing. All right. So if you're in a cushy lifestyle, but you're a little uncomfortable with it, right? And you don't want to do it long term. Well, you need to lean a little bit more heavily into the pain in order to actually make a change. So for me, once again, that comes down to future pacing everything, right? Thinking 6 months, 12 months from now, what would I regret most? 50 years from now, what would I regret most, right? And I always thought the biggest regret would be not taking the risk and going after it. So that's what I went ahead and did. Okay, so you need to be impatient with that, with taking action towards those goals, and having that sense of urgency through, manufacturing this pain in your mind. If your reality is genuinely painful, then you'll make a change. Okay, so if you don't have that right now, that's fine, but you need to manufacture that if you really want to see some sort of results. Okay, and coming back to the patience aspect, if you have these goals and you're thinking it's 10K a month is going to happen in 2-3 months, right? Let's say you're working a normal job right now, making 3-4K a month, right? Maybe you're in retail, maybe you're in a sales job already, but it's in person. Okay, understand it's going to take a little bit longer than you think, but it's all worth it. Okay, so if you can stretch out the time horizon for when you achieve your goals and see success, you're going to hit it, and it's going to make the journey a lot better. Right? So for me, I thought I was going to make 10K a month, live overseas like a year or two ago, right? And that wasn't the case, but now it's happening, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because now it's like compound interest, right? Like all those actions that work is now paying off, and within the next month or two, I'll probably be hitting 20-30K a month. Okay, and just a year ago, in the past year, I've lived at my mom's house, sleeping on air mattresses, living on a buddy's couch, right? And despite that, we were able to make this happen, and that's just through not quitting. And when things seem the most difficult in your journey right now, and if it seems like you're gonna fail, or you're about to quit, just don't. That's when people fail. That's when people quit. And if you can push past that, your competition becomes a lot less. Okay, I genuinely, I believe in God, and I have faith, and I think He rewards those who put in the most effort and the most work. Thoroughly do believe that. So at that point where everybody's quitting, He has to give all the success to someone, right? There's a limited amount of resources, and it comes to those who genuinely deserve it. So if you can push past that point of pain where everybody else is quitting and dropping off, it's all there for the taking, brother. It's all there for the taking, right? So kind of wanted to flex a little bit more on y'all. Let me give this update. I got some visa shit to figure out, see if we can actually stay here for the long term, or if I got to go to Vietnam or Malaysia for a couple weeks, Bali for a couple weeks. If so, not a problem. I'm just going to be renting out a condo that I'm not staying in, right? Which is low-key a flex. Yeah, I got a place in Bangkok, but I'm staying in Bali right now. You know what I mean? So could have looked at it in a negative light, but we're gonna choose to make it a positive. Anyways, hope this was helpful for you all. If you're having a struggle fest right now, or you're not in the best time period, just know this too shall pass. Just have that vision and work towards it, and have it top of mind, and have a list of actions that you need to do day to day, and take action on it. All right, so if you're interested in getting to what I do specifically, you can check out my Instagram, which is in the bio. Okay, definitely get with me on there. I respond back, so if you want to shoot me a DM, have questions on it, or better yet, I have a video in the description kind of detailing it a little bit more, that you can look at. All right, see y'all later. Bye.